Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel, Madgicorn Messages. I really wanted to pull some messages from Spirit, anything that is supposed to come through that will be beneficial to you, something that you need to know in the moment at this time about a situation, a relationship, an experience. So just whatever is meant to come through, I'll ask Spirit, please provide my viewer the messages and allow me to be a channel for what the viewer needs to know for their highest best good at this time. Spirit, what messages do you have for the viewer? What oracle message do you have for the viewer, please? Here. All right, we have romance. I'm gonna stick this one up to the side there. So immediately out of romance, we have loyalty, receive, love, and intimacy. This has been a reoccurring theme. Sorry if you hear my cat in the background. This has been a reoccurring theme. I feel it's been coming up in a lot of readings for the collective. You know, I watch a lot of tarot and oracle and channeling messages from different channels on YouTube, and it just feels like right now there's this shift in energy where people are starting to really step into this self-love mode, I guess. So I feel like what Spirit's trying to clarify for you, for the viewer, for whoever this resonates for, right? If it doesn't resonate, just, to be rude, click off and go watch another video. Don't make something fit or take what resonates from this video. I think what Spirit's trying to clarify is that maybe you're experiencing this shift in romantic settings. Maybe there's a relationship you just got out of, a relationship you're just getting into. I feel like there's a sense of, like, maybe you're experiencing a sense of disconnect. Not necessarily like, I don't want to say it's the relationship, but you might be thinking it's the relationship, or maybe it's this romance or this connection you have with someone and you don't quite feel like something is clicking. And I don't think that that is necessarily a reflection of this person's interest in you or the romance that could potentially be. I think what is happening is you're awakening to this self-love journey. And, you know, you could be experiencing self-love in terms of, you know, individual, like you're not in a relationship, you're just alone by yourself. And maybe you're going through this, I don't really know who I am or how do I feel right now. And so I don't know what I'm looking for in a partner, but I know what I desire, but like, I can't seem to find that within someone, or there's a weird disconnect with the people that you do meet, or maybe this romantic interest that you do have. Maybe if I don't think that this disconnect, like I said, is anything to do with this person's lack of interest, because there isn't a lack of interest here. I think that Spirit is trying to help you understand that there's a very strong connection, but you're going through this growth within self and learning to identify what that self-love is in order to bring in this romance to allow something to really blossom. You have to be willing to show up for yourself first. You know, a lot of times we go through this journey alone where we go through an experience within a relationship, it doesn't work out, and then we end up being single or just working on ourselves, and, you know, maybe we're working on career, maybe we're working on something else, but we're finding and discovering ourselves in the process. And in doing so, we're really learning who we are and learning to love ourselves. And I think that there is a disconnect because you're not quite sure who you are. You're changing as a person. And I think Spirit's trying to tell you and let you know that there is this, you're trying to reconnect with who you've always been. And in doing so, you're being encouraged to love yourself first. In order for this romance to blossom, you really do have to have a balance of showing yourself this love and this care and this generosity. You have to be pretty much dating yourself in order for this to come to fruition, or for this romantic connection with someone else outside of you to blossom. I think that if you are currently in a relationship, Spirit's encouraging you to, the amount that you show this relationship or that you want to invest in this relationship, they're encouraging you to invest this back into yourself. If you are alone, if you're single, Spirit's encouraging you to treat yourself, to take care of yourself, to honor who you are and respect yourself, respect your boundaries. Hello. And in doing so, you'll bring in this person, this ideal romantic partner, this person who matches your energy. I think if you're in a situationship or if you're in a dynamic that feels rocky, you might be overgiving, and it might feel really imbalanced because you're forgetting about yourself in the process. So, right, it could go, there's like 3 different kind of situations here. You're with someone, it's rocky, and Spirit's telling you to step back and pour more into yourself. If you're in a relationship that feels like it's equal give and take, but you're feeling this disconnect or this uncertainty, I don't think it's the other person. I think that it's just you needing to pour more into yourself in order to really find that grounding, that balance, and being able to be generous with yourself as much as you are this other person. And I don't get the sense that that particular dynamic is a draining one in any way. I do think it's a pretty balanced one, but I think that disconnect is simply because you need to be pouring more into yourself. And then for those of you who are single or alone currently, and maybe you're hoping for this romantic ideal person, I think that Spirit's telling you this is a time for you to really pour into yourself and discover who you are. Learn what it is that you like, what you don't like, and you learn more about yourself in that process. You learn to, when you start to find things that you enjoy and you find so much excitement and happiness and joy in those things that you do and the things that you try and discover, you discover who you are, and you discover to, more about yourself. You learn your quirks if you don't already recognize them. You learn how to love those parts of yourself that you might, have hated on in the past or been critical of. And I think that in order to bring in that beautiful romantic connection, that partnership that's ideal, that matches you, you have to be loving towards yourself and recognizing those things that are, what people would consider flaws or what people consider weird, but those are the beautiful parts of who you are that someone else is going to see in you, this perfect ideal romantic person. I think that for those of you who are in a connection and it feels balanced, but you're just feeling that disconnect, I do think Spirit's just trying to remind you, remember to pour into yourself as much as you are. This relationship, this person is there, they're showing up, they're not going to leave. I think it's a balanced partnership here, but I think that you're imbalanced because you haven't quite identified a lot within yourself that you love and you want to show up. Maybe you're hiding some things, and maybe that might be like hiding those parts of yourselves, and maybe Spirit's encouraging you to embrace those parts of yourself and to care for those parts and to show love to those parts of yourself, because that's what this person who is in your life, that's why they're there. And small message for some, if this person's around because you are a certain version to them and you haven't really acknowledged those hidden parts of yourself that are who make you into who you are, or you're discovering, if this person leaves because you're finally acknowledging these quirky sides, these weird sides, these beautiful sides, they're all beautiful, then this person's not meant for you. And the beautiful romance that you do seek, that balance that you currently have, it will come back. And then again, for those who are in an imbalanced relationship or a situationship or a dynamic where you're pouring more into this person and you're feeling depleted or drained, I don't actually get the sense that it's draining because this person is not showing up. I don't get the sense, I know that doesn't sound typical, like most relationships where you feel drained and you're pouring more into a relationship, it's because the other person won't. I don't get the sense. I think that for the group or the people that I'm channeling into, I feel like this person is showing up and they are putting in, but I think that you are pouring way too much into something that it could be balanced, but it's imbalanced because you're pouring so much into that. You're looking for love outside of yourself, when Spirit's saying, take a step back, just pour more into yourself, take care of you and do more for you. Don't go on that date for this week, and do something for yourself that is exciting and fun. I think that's what's going to bring in a lot of balance. and good positive energy into this dynamic. So I'm gonna pull, I forget what this deck is. Sea Melodies. They're just like little affirmations or little insightful messages. So Spirit, what insightful message from the Sea Melodies can the viewer, what do you have for the viewer? What is it meant? Ooh, there it is. It just flew out. Ooh, patience. This is beautiful. So patience, it says the tide will come in when it's ready. Yeah, this is way too perfect and synchronistic. So really, like if you are, I'm really channeling for that group that's like pouring into a relationship, and also those that might be single. No, it's just all of them. You need to not rush this. You know, whatever that romantic relationship is, that connection, whether you're in it and it's beautiful and it's balanced, or you're feeling that disconnect, be patient with yourself. It takes a long time to discover who you are and who you always have been, not who people expect you to be, or who have expected you to always be. You know, you're changing, and it takes a long time for you to change, to peel the layers away and to rediscover more of who you are and always have been, and connect with those parts that felt lost. You know, the whole thing about life is experience. You're meant to discover yourself in this process. It's not always, love will always be the biggest and the hardest, most challenging endeavor. Because it really is a reflection of where you are at in life in terms of loving yourself. So I do think that Spirit's trying to remind you that this romance, this blossoming love, whatever it is that you are really wanting, it's going to come in. There's absolutely no doubt about that. But I think that patience is really all about you taking time for yourself and knowing that you cannot rush your growth. You absolutely cannot rush yourself. You cannot rush a romance, because you cannot rush yourself in the process. Like, you have to allow yourself to grow and to discover yourself, to discover other people, anything in that discovery process. Like, you have to take the time to discover something, realize it, and then integrate it. And integration and then action, putting it into action, is the hardest part, because you might learn something about yourself and then think, oh, I get it. I understand, more of who I am and why I am. And then it takes a lot of work to put that into action. Because that requires active conscious change in the physical, in the 3D. That might mean, say, you haven't really been honest about who you are. So you're holding back in a relationship and you're not being honest with this person about who you are. So when you start to realize that you're not being honest with yourself, you realize that, you integrate that within yourself for understanding. And then you start to apply that for yourself. Okay, I this is how I am, this is how I feel. I really do love this person, or I really just don't feel like we actually vibe as much as I want to. Other people think it's good, but I actually don't feel that way. And then outwardly putting that into action, talking about it, being honest with the people in your life who are there. Whew. So for those that this resonates, take the messages as they resonate. Don't force anything. That's one thing I'm just gonna, when it comes to love, I know we can get really frustrated when we're listening to messages and this doesn't resonate, this doesn't fit. That's not my story. Well, then click off and go watch another message or go find another reader. But messages, when they come through, they will resonate. They will feel right in your soul. And even if it doesn't feel like it's playing out in your current reality, it might be that this is getting ready to come in, or it could be that this has just recently happened and that there's some information here that's going to be really helpful for you in order to grow, to learn, and to heal. So I guess I kind of want to get one more message we're going to do from the Fall in Love deck. Whoops. Okay. All right. What does the viewer need to know? Overcoming challenge. This is beautiful. Yeah, I think that this is I don't think that this is necessarily a challenge with like you and another person. It could be, but I think that this is an overcoming challenge within yourself. I think that there's a massive growth. I'm being picky about these like card placements because I'm all OCD here. I think that there's some major growth that you're going through. I think that there's some shedding in like terms of like these layers that you've always had, and you haven't allowed them to peel away to really come into your true self and show up authentically. And I think that there's a lot in terms of relationships and romance that has maybe been a struggle, or where you, like I said earlier, you felt this disconnect. You felt like there's something off, but there's nothing that this person is doing or saying that's making you feel off. I just don't feel like it has really anything to do with the other person, but in terms of relationships and romantic ones, in this sense, that there's a lot of growth that is happening that's become very challenging. And it's been testing, I feel, because you're being challenged to really step into the best version of yourself, this very high, loving, vibrational person, in order for for beautiful romance to flourish and come to fruition in your life. Yeah, so Spirit's guidance is definitely like you're going through the time and it's okay, but it is absolutely a reflection of yourself. I know that's like the hard truth is like, oh, it's not them, it's me. It really is. I think that in this particular reading, in this case, it really is about you being patient with yourself, showing yourself that love, being committed to taking care of yourself in the ways that you need, and giving yourself time to grow into that beautiful version, especially the version you've been hiding. When you really start to show up the way that feels right, the way that feels like this is who I am, there's so much liberation in that. And you start to let go of what anyone else thinks, and you start to come into alignment with everyone, friends, even random connections, but especially romantic. You start to really bring in the people who are in alignment with that version of you. And I can tell you, having gone through the same experience or similar experiences, as I stepped into my true authenticity and who I wanted to be and how I wanted to show up, knowing that being the best, most authentic version of myself means someone is going to come in to my life, people are going to come into my life who are in alignment with that. It is the most liberating feeling to be totally accepted and embraced just as you are. But Spirit is just telling you to be patient with yourself, that this takes time. You cannot rush love. You cannot rush your growth. And you are going through a big change in your life right now. And I think you're starting to identify that you don't feel the same about the people that you've always been attracted to, or maybe you feel differently, maybe you approach love differently, and that is okay. But definitely be patient with yourself, be gentle with yourself in the process. And really take the time that you need to discover yourself in everything that you're doing and exploring. All right, those are the messages that I have today. I hope that you enjoyed. Thanks for watching.